What's shaking, folks? Back with another reaction, back with more David Bowie, and we're returning to the 1969 self-titled album. Thank you as always to Judith. And the next track is Janine, which is a female name. It's not only a single word title, but it is a proper name, and thus, without any additional context, it's really hard to get a read on, but I would imagine her to be a character relative to the narrator, and I suppose, by extension, it could be something autobiographical from Mr. Bowie's life, but I look forward to reading comments to that effect no matter what happens in the narrative or scene of the song. Let's give it a listen. This is David Bowie, the tune is Janine, and it's from his 1969 self-titled album, which, as I've learned, is sometimes called Space Oddity.
Okay, just one more from David Bowie. It's called Janine. And we must mention one more time Julia's Eyes for a super session. Take it, David.
Hello, Janine. I'm helpless for your smile. Like a foolish wanderer, I travel ever onwards to your land. I'm worried not just for the jewels that close your hand. You're strange demon to collocate my mind. Scares me into gloom, you're too intense. I keep my veil across my face. I'm no defense, I've got to keep you in your place. Janine, Janine, you're like to know me well, but I've got things inside my head that you and I can't face. Janine, Janine, you like to collapse my walls. If you take an axe to me, you'll kill another man like me and all. Your babe, Janine, a trooper to the last. But if I catch you standing on my toes, I'll have the right to shout you down. For you're a lazy stream in which my thoughts would drown. So stay, Janine, and we can glide along. I've bought your wings for laughs. I'm not obliged to read your statements of the year. So take your glasses off and don't act so sincere. Janine, Janine, you like to know me well. I've got things inside my head that you and I can't face. Janine, Janine, you like to crash the walls. If you take an axe from me, you'll kill another man, not me at all. Whoa, yeah. See the brakes on.
That's really interesting. So, number one, if
This
you...
afternoon's programme we have David Bowie, who's famed in hit parade circles for one of last year's best records, Space Oddity, and he'll be joined a little later on in the programme by a horde of musicians. We'll tell you about that when it comes. First thing that he's going to sing just by himself with his own guitar is a Jack Brel composition. This is David Bowie and Port of Amsterdam.
Wait, what? I'm so confused, because I was going to say, like, that opening bit feels like it could be genuine from, like, a, radio broadcast they did, or, some public performance that was just recorded and included on the album track. But then hearing that bit at the end there, which sounds like it's actually setting up the next tune, where they make reference to the record Space Oddity, it's like, wait, so, like, was this a later version of the album that actually, became a bit meta because it was incorporating material, or, again, like a recording about the release of the record that we're listening to? So, yeah, I'm very curious about that. And it makes me think that that opening bit was not, like, created for the song, which I was thinking it could be that. Like, it could be the idea of, making a bit of a meta-reality for the song, that, like, here's David Bowie with a song called Janine, and then it's, it wasn't a real broadcast, but it was done in the studio to give that effect, where, I listened to some reactions where there's, like, a applause or like ovation at the end, and then people will tell me it actually wasn't really a live performance. They did that in the studio to give it the atmosphere of a live performance in front of a club or something like that. But yeah, given what we heard at the end, I'm thinking that was legitimate. It was an actual radio announcer or DJ like introducing the song that we heard. It also feels like the song could have gone on much longer, and that like in a live performance it might have just been entering like an instrumental interlude, and then would go back to the chorus again before ending a couple minutes later. I will say, like, I love the like 60s rock and roll vibes. I enjoy the dual layered guitar. We have that strummy acoustic guitar backing, as well as the more jamming electric guitar lead in the front of the tune. Lyrically, I'm intrigued because it sounds like, at first I was thinking, okay, he's like, visually arrested by or in some way interested in this Janine. But the more and more the song went on, the more and more it seemed like a critical take, that she's like a bit too intense, she's a bit weird, she's, what was it, something like a witch or something, and like she's, what was it, like a constant tripper, or it sounded like he was saying like, she uses drugs and, she's just kind of off in her own mental world, and if she steps on his feet, which, I'm thinking of dancing, but maybe just being a bit too close and intense, like he's gonna incur her wrath or something. So it's like, by the time we get to the end of the tune, it feels like he's saying like, you're too much, you're weird, you're out there, you're tripping, girl, and you're, don't get too close to me, don't, step on my toes and, cause me pain or annoyance, and if you do, you're going to hear about it. So yeah, it really went in a direction that at the beginning I did not expect it to, and ultimately I love the vocal performance. It's nothing crazy, nothing like over the top, but it's got the flair that fits with that like 60s rock, maybe with a bit of a psychedelic touch. I mean, it's not what I would call psychedelic rock, but yeah, just had a bit of that like layered kind of sound. So yeah, a cool one, and admittedly way less like art rock atmospheric than the previous tunes. So it does seem like there's some variety over the course of this album, which I certainly enjoy. And even before I began this deep dive, I didn't know much about Bowie at all outside of one or two songs, but I had a sense that he was like this multifaceted and multi-talented musician that made tunes, that spanned some different genres. So I'm getting the substance of that a little bit as we go through. So once more, shout out to Judith, as well as Yvonne and others like Mark, who've taken an interest in this deep dive, as well as others who've commented, more singularly on certain tracks. Looking forward to the next one. Let me know what you think, and I will see you for that one. Peace.